Yeah. All right. Hello, everyone. John and I are back again for Andreas Pop Culture Talk. John, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy we have spent more time now this Sunday. Oh,
hmm
yeah. Today was a fun day. We hike, we watch movies, and we have brunch, sort of.
hmm Late lunch,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Dinner
late.
brunch.
Yeah, so very cool. But yeah, so change of plans, folks. Instead, we were supposed to do Bean, but no worries. We're going to do that for our next podcast, and that will be official. But today we'll do a movie that we've seen together, which I think is much like cooler. I will say, the Mitchells versus the Machines, a 2021 animation film. Uh, I mean, it's produced by the Phil Lord and Chris Miller production, the guys that did Lego Movie, Spider Verse, and then of course the 21 Jump Street films, which they're amazing. But yeah, yeah, oh my god. So, what's your overall thoughts of this movie? I mean, this is the first time. Huh.
I thought it was pretty great. I mean, the themes and the family element and the way that they played it all out, especially the relationship between the father and the daughter, it was just fantastic. And the artistic design of the animation was also just good. I like the textures and the colors and the flow and everything. It was very well done. All around, great movie.
Yeah, I 100 agreed. This is like my top 10 favorite animation movies of all time. Like, I cannot believe it. Like, it's like if you've seen, as I mentioned, those movies, the Lego Movie or Spider Verse, it's like top tier those. Um, if you've seen one of those movies, because it just it carries a lot of those like those kinetic styles and animation, the quips and the emotional like integral of the story. It's like all there, but each one are different. I mean, like the
Mhm.
Lego Movie, I don't know if you've seen the Lego Movie.
I have,
um
yeah.
yeah, like that's about like a father and son relationship. You did not know that until the end. And then Spider Verse, is about responsibility, but also great expectations of yourself. you know and that you can be anyone. In this case, you can be anyone can be Spider-Man. That's the message
Mhm.
of Spider-Verse. And then here, this like this movie, has the father-daughter relationship that you mentioned. And it also like also saying that, yeah, we're not like family is not perfect, but it's 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 your blood relative. You're kind. It doesn't matter how different you are. You're still family, and that I appreciate the most about the
Well,
film.
it's deeper than that because just because you can be blood related to someone doesn't mean you have to be close to them, right?
Mm,
It delves further into the childhood that even the main character doesn't really remember, right? Through the all those films and everything that she rediscovers towards the end of the movie. It's about a very real relationship that was there, but was hitting a bit of a momentary bump in the road. The relationship was already there between her and her father. It's just
yeah, yeah, I
coming
agreed.
through a different phase.
Yeah, I mean, you can call this like a coming of age story for Kate, the character.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I would call it a coming of age story.
yeah, and I think you're absolutely right, John. I think
Mhm.
that yeah, like despite it's not of course you know um despite their family, but they're also different. And being different is also not that bad either.
Yeah,
Like, because they're not this like the like, because they're also like discussing about like the perfect family image that you usually see in Mia, like the 50s. The 50s
yeah,
have this, like this like suburban like Americana kind of family image, which is no longer in the US. That has changed completely.
Well,
And so,
it never was,
yeah,
and it was never was real, you know.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think it's it's more about no family is normal. You know, they kind of like they had that image of the perfect family with the neighbor family,
oh
but the
yeah,
problem with them is even they were problematic. I mean, she comes up to the mother at the end. You know,
yeah.
I'm so impressed that I'm going to follow you on Instagram, which is just such a um.
Funny, but also like,
Oh, that goes to show that no one is normal. There is no such thing as
yeah,
normal.
yeah. I agree. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, this movie is so good at doing that. Like, it could have been very sappy, or like taking that message in the wrong direction. But I think this movie did a really good job of balancing that.
I
With
agree.
all, with all the crazy sci-fi, you know, themes and messages that we are just used to. You know,
Hmm.
like, it's crazy. This movie is about family. This is the better version of Fast and the Furious, and this film is like the better science fiction movie of AI, of artificial intelligence. The Steven Spielberg film, but
Yeah, yeah,
uh, like it just like does these two things that I don't wasn't thinking to put it together, but with that, like this movie has a lot of the 90s vibe to it. Like, you got these two ideas that you can definitely see in a live action movie, but I know that they completely can like easily fail that, but this movie just completely does that so well. And thank god this is animation, because I don't think those two Sandras can be mixed together the right way.
yeah. I don't think that did. Yeah,
you
it
know
would come across very differently.
yeah. But yeah, this movie just did everything right, and especially the characters. Like, because you feel sympathetic between the two characters. The father, uh, his father's name, Rick, uh, and then of course, Katie, the female protagonist, the girl that's going to college, for the film school. And by the way, I really dug this movie. Like, I I love how they really dive into like the new way of filmmaking. But
Hmm.
like in YouTube, that's something that's been prevalent since 10 years now. Everyone's like, who wants to be a filmmaker and all that can do it in YouTube, and get the exposure. I mean, several directors got this, like, Josh Trank, who did Chronicle, who did the new, like, he did the awful new Fantastic Four film. He got his
Hmm.
start from YouTube doing these
Okay,
like shorts.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and several directors have done that, with these like shorts, or like even horror directors did that, like David F. Sandberg, who did the DC film Shazam, and the second best horror film, Annabelle Creation. Like,
Hmm.
he got his start from YouTube doing a short film.
Yeah,
Yes,
I didn't know
so
that.
so it was kind of cool that they like actually went into the YouTube, like, uh like stuff I wasn't expecting, and I think they did such a good job of showing the bad and good side of exposing your content, like that way.
Mhm.
And also technophobia as well, like, because the dad doesn't like technology, and this movie did such a good job of like showing this like a fortune fear of technology, but in the right way, and like you can understand where he's coming from, but not in a silly way, or like a very mean spinny way. I think it comes very genuine. So,
Right.
sort of speaking. So, but yeah, so um, uh, first off, like, I guess, what's your favorite thing about this movie? What was the thing that got you like hooked right away?
It's got to be the way that they portrayed the father's emotions. I found that.
Yeah,
I think that was the best part about it to me. Um,
Yeah,
Usually in a lot of movies, when you're talking about a father and everything, like they'll go into the emotions of it sometimes.
yeah,
But I think in particular, the they really addressed it with some actual emotional sensitivity this time. Like you could very much tell that he deeply, deeply loved his daughter, and everything that he did was trying to make her happy in the way that he thought was best, um,
yeah,
while also trying to preserve something of their old relationship, which really, it's a complicated thing, and they showed him upset about the
yeah,
change. You know, usually you get that story solely from the kid's side. Uh,
yes,
where they
yeah,
have to change and everything, and maybe they regroup with the parent later on. But this was very much a movie about the parent moving on just as much,
yeah,
or the whole family in its entirety. I think the best part was the slow reveal about what the moose was and what the moose was from.
yeah.
You
Oh
know,
my god.
like the fact that this guy sacrificed his time and effort to build this cabin, and he was so artistic before, just like his daughter and everything.
Yeah,
It's he was able to leave it because it was for the sake of his daughter, and
yeah,
I think that really, I think that was it's part of the family love message, but I think
yeah,
that was the best part about it. It was the most different to me.
yeah. You're right, because a lot of these kids movies will just make the parents the bad guys, and then we sort of have to sympathize the kids, which 9 out of 10 doesn't work. But this one, I really appreciate that we saw both sides of the perspective. Like when they were held up in that dinosaur um thing or exhibit or whatnot. Like it was cool to see. We cut back to Katie and talking with the brother about how the dad is not understanding her. He thinks she's weird, and but then you come back to the dad talking to the mom about how he's trying to protect her. She doesn't want her to get hurt. And I
Mhm.
really appreciate that. It's not because he likes didn't go with the plan because it was like you know like stupid or weird. It was just because it's risky, and like he's thinking more logical of like you cannot be endangering yourself to this like high this mission. You don't know what's the outcome, stuff like that. I really appreciate that. And yeah, and the moose thing, like that, like I knew it was something that gonna happen. I was not expecting it coming from the house. Like, oh my god, that killed me. It's like the Lego movie where you like strip down when we got the reveal where like all this Lego is from the dad, and
Mhm.
then the kid is using it to reflect his emotions of what he's feeling, what his dad doing and all that. Like it's so like it hits you so hard, you
Yeah.
know. It, oh my god, I that I almost cried when they revealed that like oh my god that. And then I love the line he say it's easy now, like yeah he it was hard for him, but like it was easy because it was for his daughter, and I
Yeah.
that was just great and showed that he was a human person.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's just yeah, man, great stuff. I just love the father daughter relationship, and you don't get that enough in movies. So it was very refreshing to like see that because sometimes I when they do father daughter relationship, it's sometimes hit and miss. I think this one was a big hit, and making both characters different enough, but like you see the similarities as well.
Mhm.
Like which I appreciate. Like in the car, like this when they do the snoring thing, and then she does it accidentally. Like that was cool to show. Like they're not
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
So I really dug that detail. Yeah, and I like also the mom and brother. Like they go to ours. So like I like that we got a mother daughter relationship. Mother son relationship, but in the background, I like and I like how the mom is she needs to accept that this is her family. Like she despite how hectic and just bizarre the family is, she this is her family, and then she needs to be okay with that, you know. And then the brother has to be a little more confident. I like how they did such a good job about, you know, being confident, but like it doesn't mean to be fear and like you know, be scared or you know, change your personality. No, it's just be
Right.
yourself, and I like that. So like they did such a good job of giving the family arcs that to just you know, about not, you know, not being weird or like you know, is the it doesn't care you're weird, you're family, it doesn't matter, you know. And I
Hmm.
like that. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I just like, it's just refreshing to see that in the animation movie because sometimes I think they go too far with if you do like a family story, it could go either way, and I don't know. So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I thought they hit the mark on it.
yeah, and then if we can transition into the sci-fi stuff, like this is such a great sci-fi film. Like, you know, like you got AI, you know, of course, taking over the world and you know, starting an apocalypse. It was refreshing. Like this villain, like it's so like cool. Like they make the villain sympathetic enough, but like she's still evil. You know, like despite you know Kitty doing that like you know heroic monologue of like you know, yeah, I know my family is weird, or you know, like you know, like so, you know, the dad didn't understand her, but like he was trying to do his best to please his daughter, you know, and then and then the villain just didn't care, and like it's just like that's a hard balance, and I think this movie did such a good job of handling the villain, you know, like
Hmm.
you feel sorry for this AI, but then same time the AI has its own agenda, and it's just yeah, I appreciate that. What do you think about the villain? I don't know what's your opinion on the villain.
I really don't. I didn't really think much about the villain because I really don't think the movie had anything. It was more like setting the stage for this family relationship to play out more than it was about the villain. It
Hmm.
wasn't about it.
Yeah,
Um, it was a catalyst for
yeah,
what was going on in the movie. In terms of sympathetic, I mean, there was the whole monologue about you smear your fingers over the phone, but think it had nothing to do with being sympathetic towards artificial intelligence. It more had to do with it was a criticism of artificial intelligence.
that's true.
I don't think it had anything to do with people are mean to Siri. You know what I mean? It had
Yeah.
nothing to do
Well,
with that. It had
well,
to do with people's reliance on these things.
yeah. I guess so. I think that's a good point. I think I agree with you on that, John. I think they are saying that the you know you know the danger of AI, but at the same time, the career was selfish and like he pushed away this thing he had that was like useful still, you know, and like he built these robots, and it's like you know, like you know what I mean, like why you
Well,
want to build?
I don't think it had anything to do with the AI. I think it had to do with human selfishness and
That's true. Yeah,
and
yeah,
in a sense, yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
driving towards it was a criticism of what's going on in our society right now more than it was about this guy was a jackass to his cell phone.
yeah. That's
You know?
true. I mean, he. I mean, that's true. I definitely could see that. Yeah, and like we did see that with Katie and the dad. Like, there's like human like selflessness, but like theirs like are more human than the career. You know, the PAL company, whatever you call that.
Right.
Um, and by the way, I do dug the name PAL. That's actually like a very cool name
Mm.
for like a you know AI company and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And you know, I I think you're right. I mean, with so many of these AI stories, like I just wish we get fresh, and I just thought this movie did such a good job being fresh with the whole AI danger thing, you know, and
I think
apocalypse.
it's the comedy of it gave a good context to be like it was good social commentary is what it was. It
Yeah,
was an opportunity for social commentary on that subject when it is at such a, it's really at the forefront, especially with Chat GTP or GPT coming out and everything like that, and how that's being used as AI is at the forefront of the conversation right now.
yeah.
So it hit good.
Um. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it hit good timing. The
Yeah.
commentary from it, and I think
Well,
most AI related stories. I mean, in general, sci-fi isn't necessarily. It's most often sci-fi has nothing to do with the story that it's telling. It's a commentary on something,
yeah. I
about something.
Yeah. It's definitely about something. I think it's just like how this movie use AI and technology. It's quite interesting for me. Like like I like they were giving characteristics with these things. Instead of just like because like like you mentioned the human selflessness of that career, and if he like did what Katie did, Katie took care her technology, just by she was hooked on it. I was seeing the funny scene with them trying to have like a normal talk in the family dinner, as dad was making making them not to use their phones for what 5 minutes or whatnot. Like I feel like you're talking about how we're so addicted to this technology. We don't like realize or should realize that these we usually take granted of these things, because they're useful and they can be used for everlasting, because like how Katie's computer laptop, I'm sorry, laptop was broken. Like
Mhm.
she had that since what, like middle school, like or elementary school. Like I, if you talk to you see your friend, like you don't see that a lot. Like a lot of these kids will just replace the new product or for this new thing, like the iPhone. Like when the iPhone started, like everyone wanted the iPhone 2 or like the iPhone 3. I feel like that was the other criticism of like we're taking granted of this technology. We should be more mindful to just use this one product, and then that's it. When we and it's also, this movie talks about change. Like dad is worried about the change of this family, and like all that, and the fear of change. I feel like
Mhm.
that's also the commentary that this film is talking about, and I feel like using the technology is like a good sample, because technology changes progressively every year, and it's pretty cool. um but also, like, you think about, I don't want to put this in real world situations, because this movie came out in 2021. We have the pandemic. I think this movie is such a good uh commentary on, there's the good side of technology when we need it the most, and then it shows also the bad side of it. Like I think sometimes people are addicted to technology. Like these kids now are like, use iPads now and like phones at such an early age, like, which
Mhm.
is crazy, because you don't like when you and I were growing up, we didn't have that. Like I got my phone like around middle school, when I started to walk home, and that made sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think this movie does a good job of like commentary on the bad and good side of the usefulness of technology.
Yeah. Definitely the good and the bad.
Yeah.
But I don't think it had a huge amount to do with. I mean, not to say it didn't, but I don't think it had much to do about throwing away or taking it too much for. It was less about throwing things away when you're not when there's actually no need for that, and
Yeah.
more to do with, again, that continuous. It was a commentary on the push to have more and more convenience and less human input into the machine. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
so you don't
Yeah.
have to do X, Y, and Z anymore because the AI is going to take care of it for you. You don't have to do as much. It had less to do with throwing away the old. Like, people wouldn't throw away the old for exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
They throw it away because there's a perceived increased convenience or there's some benefit that they see to their own lives, usually, most of the
Hmm.
time. Um, so I think that's what's being seen. Like there's something not good about a smart microwave or a smart oven or an
Hmm.
AI bot, compared to what your life is now. You're being told that you're lacking something.
Yeah. Um.
People aren't throwing it away just to throw it away. They think
Yeah.
that they are missing something in their lives, and this is a criticism of that kind of behavior.
Yeah. I agreed, and I think they do that so well, like exemplifying that with the two robots that
Hmm.
they're like obsolete. By the way, those two robots were so funny. Like,
Oh
like
yes, indeed.
all the gags was so funny. I cannot believe that I laughed so hard when they were naming themselves. Well, like they were naming Eddie and then the other outro.
I'm also Eddie, and then
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
that's like so funny. And then them drawing faces in their like face is so, oh my god,
Hmm.
so funny. It's just I just crack up, and I think they did such a good job of putting the commentary on those two. Like they when they get affected, like they don't follow like any of the programming, right? And then despite that they like reverted back, they slowly gain back their like the affected minds, and they stop following it, and they become like sort of what you were saying, less dependent on like the status quo, like
I'm
less
not
this,
sure how that relates to the social commentary.
like because these robots are following like this specific program from the AI, right? But when they get defected and like don't follow it, it's like intriguing that you see how they're like actually more open minded, and like they feel like they accept themselves, where the family hasn't yet gone to that point to their arcs, and
Hmm.
like they are sort of like ahead of what the family is going to achieve towards the end of the movie, like, okay, Katie understands her dad. Her dad was trying his best to be a good father and like loves her, and they're both similar people, and they're both artists, but just different artists. One is about constructing, and in in nature, and by hands, and then Katie, the other hand, is like she's using technology, but like she's constructing it in a very creative way, you know, because and I feel like if you get the robots, like they like creatively push Katie to do this mission, with the information they give them, and like despite that they don't know what they're doing, like they don't know they're not humans, and it's
Hmm.
very funny how they just go along with the humans, and then they become a family. That's the thing. They now are part of this family, which is funny towards the end. They're still
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But yeah, um, I think it'll be a good time to discuss the voice casting, because the voice casting is so incredible. Like I don't know, you've seen Denny McRae's films. He voiced the dad Rick. He's in a couple of films. He stars in Eastbound and Hound, the HBO show. He was in Tropic Thunder. He was this crazy was a pyrokinetic person that does all the explosion and fire and all that in the movie sets.
Pyrotechnic.
Thank you. I didn't know that word. He's in Tropic Thunder. He's funny in there.
Hmm.
He shares scenes in Nick Nolte in that
Hmm.
movie. It's hilarious. Um, yeah, I love him. This is probably his best performance. I think the voice casting was great. Like Kurt O'Brien does the voice for the robots, and like, and I think that he's such perfect. Um, what else? Some of them are I don't recognize, but the neighbors. They're voiced by John Legend. John Legend, the artist, the music artist, and his wife does which
Well,
is
that's neat.
yeah, weird casting, but I thought they were great. I thought
Yeah,
they
no, no,
did.
they all did. Everyone did a good job, I think.
Yeah,
The one weird one was the son.
yeah. Well,
He
who
sounded
played?
old.
Yeah, I Aaron, right? Like he, yeah, he's from, I don't know, you seen the show Gravity Falls?
Yes, I
Um, yeah, I think he maybe voice. Um, Let me see. Yeah, he's just, yeah, it's weird. It's like he's doing like multiple roles, like a producer, director, and he's a voice actor. I don't know. That's weird. I mean, when you're
But
a
he did a
kid,
good job. He just sounds older than a child.
yeah. But I seen my, like, kids have like different voice when you have like it's one, you have one of those classmates that have a deeper voice. I remember it.
This was more than that. It sounded more rugged.
Yeah,
You
I don't
know
know.
that was the thing. You know,
Yeah. I mean, at least he was like, not like a 5-year old. Then that'd be weird. Like, at least it wasn't Boss Baby.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. That's good.
yeah, like at least it wasn't like Alec Baldwin voicing a baby, and he's like the
Well,
secret agent.
to be fair, that was part of the humor for that. You know,
Yeah.
that was
I
why
mean,
that was funny. I never saw it, but
I mean, I don't know. Like if you're a DreamWorks fan, like it's like low tier DreamWorks movie. It wasn't as good as Kung Fu Panda or um uh Puss in Boots Last Wish. Like it's not as great, or it's not clever like those
hmm
films, or like severe, or like genuine as those two films.
hmm
But yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. I think they did a great job of making the kid be a kid. Like
hmm
that's the thing. Like he was similar to the sister. He has his weird interest of dinosaurs. Okay, that's fine. Like people like had interest in dinosaurs. Um, I just thought, the voice was, I mean, kids have this. Like it is a voice, so I mean, and it adds character to that
there's a
kid.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I can disbelieve sometimes. So yeah. So I didn't have a problem with it when I was watching the movie, but it could have been weird if it was like younger. Then I'm like, yeah, okay, this is going too far.
hmm
So, but yeah. So, what else we need to bring up? What else? The animation. I thought the animation was really great. I
hmm
Yeah, like
Those
similar to the,
colors.
yeah. Oh my god, I love. Oh my god, the was it the Mitchell mountain thing? Like that was funny. When Kitty, because Kitty, I don't think Kitty drives, so like it was cool how she has to learn to do the
Oh, the stick shift. Yeah.
yeah, and that was a cool way to make it like pop and passage,
hmm
make it like fancy. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I was a little concerned like with the crazy like images and like the hectic kinetic energy, but like it works so well. And if like it didn't, I like the animation here. It wasn't like too much like Spider-Verse, like 2D. Like I don't
hmm
know, you see that movie, but like it has
Yeah,
this
yeah.
weird like 2D 3D graphic art,
Rigid
which
kind of movement.
no, like it looked very photorealistic. Here I like how it's very much animation, and I like how everything in the animation was like it fit consistently, and
hmm
that was something I like the most. It's like cloudy transfer meatballs. Like it's more of
hmm
that style, which I like, and I think that's pretty cool. Cause and they look great. I thought they're like the bodies and the humans look pretty fantastic for
Yeah, it's really
animation.
good. Good character design.
Yeah, because sometimes, like ever since DreamWorks or Pixar, like a lot of the human designs are like just bland and just like I appreciate when Spider Verse came out. It made people be more creative with the career like character designs and all that. So,
hmm Yeah.
which is good. So yeah. What else? The score, the music. I thought the music was good. I
I
thought,
don't really remember it that much.
yeah. I mean, with all the
It was,
talking, and
yeah,
I
wasn't
I
a music movie to me.
yeah, yeah. It's not like Lego Movie with their songs.
Yeah, yeah.
Like everything is awesome, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So I was paying attention when the song pump up. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, the I really dug the what was the song that Katie and the Dot did before, and then they brought it back. Me Baha, where that song was.
Maya he, Maya ha,
Yeah,
Maya
I
he, Maya ha.
like I liked that song when I was a kid, and I I had never I don't think I this is like my first time hearing it, and because I haven't ever chance to hear it, and I thought that they did such a good job of using like a license song to like be part of the
Yeah,
story.
I thought it
So
was good.
yeah,
They
I thought
used it
that
well.
yeah, and I just loved that like the whole family comes together and they start like going with the song. Like that was cool. Like I
Yeah.
really dug that. Um, but yeah, so I guess we can go to this path. Any nitpicks or like you have any nitpicks or negatives about this film? I'm kind of curious. I like it's pitch perfect for me.
I feel like it's
I
pretty solid. I don't have any no complaints here on my end.
okay. I'm surprised. Like I think like for this type of film, I'm very surprised they didn't go to like the knowing route. Like Katie, when they saw the video of Katie saying that she didn't meant what she was saying to her dad in the dinosaur exhibit.
Hmm.
When he saw the video, like I was gonna say, like I was gonna be surprised that the dad was gonna be so like down his luck and just like not to do nothing proactive. I appreciate that he was like,
Actually, kind of struck by it.
yeah, struck by it, but then he put back when he saw the videos or for from Kate, when
Right.
he was
Yeah.
talking to the creator, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was good.
yeah. So I thought that was pretty good because none of that. I think they did a good job not going too far with tropes and all that
Hmm.
for movies. Because if they did that, that's where the movie kind of like fall apart completely. So, but yeah, so that. But I guess what other thing let me say. I have a question. Did you notice this? I was looking in this movie. It say LGBT representation. Did we get a confirmation that one of these characters are gay, or I
That was only in the very last like 2 minutes of it. There was
re-
the mom asked, "When is so? Are you bringing Jade home to
oh
the daughter?"
oh really?
But
Oh,
that was it.
that was it.
Which is it's good. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not saying it's not. It wasn't the focus of the movie. So
No. And is he? Is Jay's the one that is it the black girl that was like texting her in the phone? Like, was that person?
I don't remember.
I, I because I it's just so bizarre because I swear to God I thought she said Jim and I was like wait why Jay it's so bizarre. Yeah, that's so funny. Thank you for catching that because I was like
Hmm.
where's
No,
this
he was there. It was there.
yeah, wow. I mean it's I don't know why. I mean just put the gay couple or just do it. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I get other countries have problems, but it's like you don't have to carry them. Just carry the domestic U.S. people. Like I don't. None of us care about that. Just religion.
You know,
But
there's a lot of people who do care. Not that
I know.
necessarily a good thing, and it's
Yeah.
I can I know that other countries care, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not like well, the thing is, it's not always LGBTQ plus representation isn't always just there's a gay couple. That's rather that's almost becomes a stereotype, just toss in a gay couple and you have
Mm,
LGBTQ plus representation. That's not how it. That's like
usually.
very one dimensional kind of representation.
Yeah.
Instead, here you have a kid who's gone off to college who's in that in part of
Yeah.
that representation. It's not in the way that you expect representation to be, because that's really just that's such a very narrow kind of way to do it.
Yeah, I guess
It's
so.
more important that it is. I would imagine it's more important that it's a normal part of the movie. It's not. It
Yeah,
doesn't shine anything else, because the point of the movie wasn't about sexuality. That's not the point of it. The
yeah,
point
that's
of it
true.
is family stuff. But in that, it's good to have representation alongside it, because you know it's it's just an everyday part of life.
Yeah,
It
I
was pretty
agree.
much an everyday part of life.
Yeah, I agree. I will say this one did a better job of it. I like that they didn't make like a big pause of it and like, oh, look what we're doing. Like I really appreciate it was like a blink you miss it. And I do appreciate that because I don't like when movies do this like, oh, pause. Here's our LGBTQ representation. Like, I don't know, you seen the Rise of Skywalker? Like, they literally pause and it's like, oh, okay, give you the shot of these two girls. I mean, these two, women kissing. If
Hmm.
you've seen that scene in your,
I don't
this
remember. I saw it, but I don't remember it.
exactly because it's like, who's these characters and like why? And when we try to do it with a main character, it sometimes fails
Hmm.
because it's like, okay, I get it, or like they pause and it's like, okay, you know. I thought this one was pretty good and it's like, okay, 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 she's this part of this representation, and it's like, okay, that's fine. And if you look at the film, it's like, okay, I can see that in her character, her personality and characteristic, all that. But like,
Hmm.
it's not part of like who she is.
Right.
She's and I appreciate that. Where other films took it too far, and like I get you're trying to cater this group, but like they're just asking for subtlety. And I thought
Well,
this,
it's not about. I don't think the correct way to put it is taking it too far. It's more like using it. You're using it as an advertisement for, like, it's a there's a word for it.
uh,
Um, you're virtue signaling. That's the
yeah,
phrase,
okay,
and that's not um like you're performing the representation, but you're doing it performatively. You
mm,
know, that's not.
yeah,
I'm not sure that's great either.
yeah. I I think for me, it's like with TV, they don't have a problem with this because they don't feel strict, like they don't have these like restrictions that movies have, and
Hmm.
I get that. And I just think there's two ways you can do it, like really good, and like you can represent them. I like how this like does it well, but like don't make it like part of your film, or like make it as a scene. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, I get it. Because it is an issue with movies like Star Wars by Skywalker did this bad. um Avengers Endgame did this bad. Like, Will can tell you this because one of the film directors was acting to be this gay character and telling this story about this dinner,
Yeah.
and it's just, okay, okay, this is like, okay, I get it what you're doing. And then there's a lot of examples, but I think this, like, the fact that I didn't notice it, or like they didn't push it at your face like some of the films been doing, really shows how clever and smart they are what they're doing. And I appreciate that.
I think
uh
it. Yeah, I guess so. I would say
yeah,
it's making it a part of the characters' lives, as opposed to a
yeah,
in your face kind of look at us sort of thing.
yeah. what what did our other co-hosts saying? Just throwing
Oh,
symbols. I can see it here.
yeah, I'll just jump in for a sec. Hello. I don't even know.
Hello, Will. Hey,
Uh,
what are you doing, John? What do you think, Will? You agree in
um,
this argument? What?
I mean,
I
yeah, I liked that. It was just like a natural part of the character, and it didn't feel like they were
virtue signaling is the way
Yeah,
I
like
said it before.
like forcing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the example that you gave in Avengers Endgame, like it was fine, but
Yeah.
before the movie came out, they were like, and there's a gay character in it, and then it was like a nothing part.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereas this, they like didn't promote it as like this big like important thing before the movie came out, and then it was just like a natural aspect of the character, and I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
Because that's like for actual people in the world, it's just part of their life, and it doesn't need to be
Right.
like
It's not
the
it's
center all the time.
right. And it's also important to note that it's not like she's gay. She could be bi. She could be like
Yeah.
the more important point is it's not just the status quo, like what was considered the status quo, straight heterosexual.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more important that it's just showing that not the world isn't just this one thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and by the way, like they do this too with like now with Spanish culture or like any like all the minority group, you
Mhm.
know, like now we're getting more representation with Asians and which
Mhm.
is good, and and of course the black community finally. I mean all fronts are great if you learn the culture, you know. And I think this like I don't think when this movie came out in 2021, like they did not market that like they didn't like brought up the LGBTQ representation. I don't think like it was pretty
Right.
much like
Well, 'cause it really had no. The
yeah, it's
point of
just
the movie wasn't LGBTQ plus representation. It's just
yeah,
that there is a character who is, of that community. It
yeah,
has nothing. It's important, I think, at least for my part, that these people are just people. It's not
yeah,
um, that
yes,
their
that's
whole identity is that they are part of the LGBTQ plus community.
yeah,
They are
yeah,
people, just
yeah,
like you, me, or other, someone else.
exactly. I just needed to discuss that because some like I'm I'm not part of that group, but like for me, it's just if like it doesn't matter like you're gay or like you're different race. For me, I feel like just don't make this like a big deal. It's like look, we're all equal. We're that's not this race or whatever you are. It doesn't define us.
Well, it can be a big deal where it's appropriate to be a big deal. Where it's
Yes.
not
Yes.
appropriate to be a big deal is when you're
Yeah.
using it to get credit for morals, which is
Yeah.
kind of actually the opposite of it's the opposite of what you're actually trying to do. You're trying to virtue signal. It's one thing to have a story that centers around someone's sexuality or the color of their skin or where they come from, their culture and everything. It's one thing if it's about that, but if the movie is not like focusing in on that, it's more like it's character representation as opposed to like you know virtue signaling. Again,
Yeah. Yeah. I
it's just
agree.
about doing it appropriate. It's about representing everyone
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not trying to be like, look how good I am because I'm doing it.
Yeah. 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 No. 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 No, I
Like it's
agree.
doing these people a favor or
Yeah.
something.
Exactly. No. No. I agree 100% what you're saying. I just need to just. I just feel like this needs to be a discussion, and I thought this movie did an amazing job to not,
Oh,
like doing all like this. Like they did a good job. What you're saying, virtual. What do you call it?
virtue signaling. They didn't virtue
Like
signal.
exactly, and I thought it was great. And speaking of race, when we were watching it, I think Will brought out that they're like Spanish. Like, did the mom Spanish as
Uh,
well?
I'm not quite sure. I bet Will said that he thinks that the mom spoke
Yeah,
Spanish, or was Spanish or Hispanic.
I I can see that more in the mom. I think the mom is like Spanish, like especially how they model her is like very much like a Spanish woman, descent. But yeah.
I,
Never.
they're
Yeah, yeah.
intentionally.
But yeah, yeah. I'm happy that Will was a guest star for a few minutes.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, a great mind, great body. Anyway, we should make a podcast. Great mind, great body. Like, like it's one of these special
Mhm,
exercise podcasts.
mhm,
About your mind and your body. And we're
mhm.
not gonna tell no one that this is just a phrase we're just throwing our friend who is handsome and is Andrew Garfield. Anyway.
Mhm. Yep.
But anyway, yeah, yeah. So I think it's a good time to wrap things up. I think this movie is top 10 plus. I mean, top 10 animation film all the time. I don't know how you rank your animation movie, John, but I think this is good.
I haven't been ranking them, so I wouldn't know where this falls.
Oh
But
my
it's
god.
very good. It was a very good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like if you compare it to Pixar or like DreamWorks or whatever, you put your anime or like the
Mhm.
what do you call it, Ghibli Studios.
Ghibli, Studio
Yeah,
Ghibli.
yeah, like which I haven't seen yet. I need to get that going
Yeah, I
one day.
would say you do. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, folks. I will probably this year. Maybe this year I will make that like a bucket list. Um, I think this was top tier. I thought this was
I
amazing.
thought it was
And
very good. Very well
yeah,
done.
and I'm kind of sad I didn't win best animation movie, but Tanko, you can't like come on, my country.
That was
And
also a very good movie. So
yeah, oh yeah, Colombia. We won. But yeah, so John, thank you so much. Spending your another hour with me. I'm so happy to see your face again. It's beautiful. Uh
thank you for having me.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. And no worry, folks, me and John will be back again for another spectacular podcast. This time Bean. We're going to discuss Bean.
Hmm.
Yeah, and discuss the collateral damage and unethical bizarre behavior of this British silent figure.
Hmm.
Does he ever talk?
Yes, he does.
Oh, okay, good. I was kind of concerned. I was like, he could be a mine.
No, he does. He
Who's
does. He talks.
all right? Well, to end this note, thank you everyone. Have a good weekend, or well, have a great President's Day off for tomorrow. Have a good night.